Welcome to Medfield Musings, a show dedicated to sharing with voters the work going on to create a wonderful town of Medfield. My name is Rosalie Weiss and I'm your host, and today we are fortunate enough to have Pamela Gardner, Pam Gardner, with us, who is the Medfield Library Director. Welcome to Medfield Musings, Pam. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, I'm very happy to have you. The library is an extremely important building in this town and everything that goes into it. And I have to say I'm a little prejudiced because my mother was a librarian and she was the head librarian at Mount Ida College. And all her life she wanted to be a librarian. In those days when you got married, you had your children, but I remember my father and my mother saying, as soon as you're old enough, I'm going to go back to school. And she did. She got her master's at Simmons, and that was the start of a wonderful career. So I'm very excited to have you here. I know you've done some wonderful work in creating the library and with your colleagues, etc. So let's begin. Tell us about how you chose your career. How did you get to where you are?
Yeah, I mean, it's not as wonderful of a story, I would say, as your mother's. I don't think I always dreamed of being a librarian. I always loved going to the library. I've always been a big reader. So the library has supported my reading habit over, all the years of my life. But really when I graduated college, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I kind of bopped around to a bunch of different jobs, and a family friend was a member of the Board of Trustees in my hometown, and he set up a meeting for me with the library director because he thought I'd be good in libraries, so I met with her. And I shadowed her on the reference desk for a couple of hours, and then from there I got just a part-time job. It was like a few hours a week at that library, and it was the first place I ever worked at where everybody seemed really happy to be there. So that seemed like a really good career choice.
Wonderful environment.
Yes.
Now, did you have to go back to school?
I did. So I went back to school. I went to Syracuse University for my master's degree.
And where did you go to get it again? What school?
Syracuse.
Syracuse. And your undergraduate degree?
I went to St. John's College in Annapolis, Maryland.
So in Syracuse, is there a master's specifically for a library science?
There is. It's library and it's Master's of Science in Library and Information Science. So I have a 5-letter degree.
I am so impressed, and that's why you're on the show, because you have a 5-letter degree. Thank you so much. That's great. We're very happy to have you in Medfield with all of that degree.
It's the same as a shorter degree. It's just, they pack a lot in there, yeah.
It sounds very good, exactly. So you began as a librarian. Mm-hmm. What prompted you to pursue the director position?
So I had been interim director at the Medfield Library when we were in between directors, and I had kind of always thought that I would be interested in being a director, from the very beginning of having met with that director and her having talked to me about there's just so many different parts of being a public library director, and it is a much more creative job than you would necessarily think it is, and for libraries to stay not just relevant, but like successfully serving the community, you do have to think on your feet and do a lot of problem solving, which I've always enjoyed doing. So when I was interim director, I found that I really enjoyed a lot of those things, and I like big picture thinking and coming up with like kind of zooming out and coming up with the policies with the trustees for like the overarching things, and then zooming in and figuring out how do we apply these in the day-to-day situation. So I really like that kind of flexibility and challenge that presents.
And I love the way you describe that, because many times I talk to people in education and they're happy to be teachers, not so happy to think about the administrative positions. And you seem to really have gravitated toward the different skills that you need to be a leader. Sometimes people are promoted from teacher or librarian to a leadership, and it just isn't what they want. It's not what they want to do, and it doesn't work for them. But it sounds like you really enjoy being the leader, the creative designer. Mm-hmm. So tell me about your support staff. How many people do you have to support your work in the library?
So we have 15 adult staff members, and then we have 6 teenagers who work 3 hours a week. And they're the library pages, so they do shelving of the books.
Is it adequate for you? Do you need more?
Well, we always need more.
Of course you do. We all need more support, right? Would you say that the actual number of people who come in and out increases? Is it decreasing because of technology?
So that's a great question. I'm so glad you asked.
Thank you.
Because I don't normally have numbers right on the top of my head. You saw me have to think about how many staff members we have when I know all of the staff members, but I don't think of them in terms of numbers. However, we're closing out the fiscal year. The town of Medfield, as I'm sure you know, and probably many of the people watching this know, runs from July to June, so we're just closing out the fiscal year. So I've been keeping an eye on, we have a people counter because we need to report the number of visitors to the state. So the easiest way to do that is to have the technology so that it does that automatically for us. We just topped 100,000 visitors for this fiscal year last week. So I think we're going to close out somewhere around 102,000 or 103,000.
Is that more than you've had at the highest
number?
So
that we're back to pre-pandemic numbers, although we got a different people counter in between the pandemic. So it's not apples to apples, but I'm saying that we're back to at least pre-pandemic numbers.
Is this a counter that gives you more people or less people?
I think that this counter gives us less people, so we have even more now. But I don't have the data on that, so I
was wondering if the availability of technology has changed the amount of people who actually enter the building and whether they're doing most of their work online with the library and books.
Yeah, we definitely saw with the pandemic that that we had, pre-pandemic, we had a dedicated number of computer users who would come in every single day to use the computer. And having run into them since the pandemic and spoken to them, they got, most of them got internet and the ability to get online at their home.
So they're not
coming in every day, but we do, our programming numbers are up. And interestingly, our physical book circulation was for not this current fiscal year, but the previous one, was the highest it had been in 15 years.
Excellent.
I know.
That's wonderful. Well, I see a lot of people gathered around the library, and it seems to me like a focal point in town.
We have an excellent location.
You have meetings there in the evening. You have lots of things going on. So can you describe some of the programs that you have during the day for adults, for children?
Yeah,
a wide span.
We do. We have a lot of different things that are going on at the library, and then we also partner with outside groups to expand the library resources and the outside group resources.
So outside groups?
So we will regularly partner with the Council on Aging, and then we'll also partner with the Council on Aging and the Historical Society. I was just telling one of the Medfield TV members who reads sci-fi books that we co-host a sci-fi book club at Farthest Star Saki. So we're really open to new ideas and trying something out. And if it doesn't work, if nobody shows up, then that's okay.
You don't have like a Star Wars event on a weekend or something where everybody can dress up?
Did you look on our website? We do have a Padawan training. I think it's still coming up. I don't know when this is aired. Probably once this airs, it's no longer coming up. But yes, we do have Padawan training, which is Jedi training.
Yes, yeah. Well, my job is to ask you so you can tell our audience.
Oh, okay.
I should read like more online. I understand that. But that's why I have you here to explain to our audience what's coming up and what's going on.
Yeah, so currently probably the biggest children's and teen program is we're doing summer reading. So that is kids have a paper tracker that they can use to track their reading throughout the summer, and then they can come in and get prizes.
That's wonderful. What are some of the prizes that you might give out?
So there are little prizes for children. I think it's an hour of reading, and for teens it's an hour and 15 minutes of reading. But they'll get we have like little sunglasses. They're little things that you would get in like a goodie bag, I would say. And then we also, for everybody who finishes the summer reading challenge, they get a raffle ticket for a chance to win the grand prize basket of their choice. So we have grand prize baskets for all different kinds of interests.
Meaning books and materials in those baskets?
Yes, I think every children's basket, or almost every children's basket, has a book in it. Also, every child who finishes the children's summer reading does get a book to take home and keep, which has been found for groups that have studied this. That's the best way to get kids to read, is to
put a book in their hands.
You put a book in their hands.
Yes. Now, when you work with the summer reading and you create it, do you work with the school district or do you do this separately?
So we did, the children's librarian coordinated with the elementary schools and in the past they've done their own summer reading, and this year she said, if you send them over to us, we'll take care of them, because we're here, we're staffed throughout the summer. And we're happy to support not succumbing to the summer slide. I didn't know. I started that out weird, so I didn't know how to phrase it. But yes, we're also trying to combat the summer slide.
Now, going back to staff for just a moment, we have your library head, which is your director. You mentioned a children's librarian. And what other librarian positions do you have, other than, I know you have support people and you have volunteers?
Yeah, so we have 5 different full-time staffers, and many of those, some of those also oversee part-time staffers as well.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah.
Now, since you entered the whole library system, I am sure you have seen a number of changes to bring us to 2026. If you would try to describe what the library looked like, seemed like when you first entered, and what it is today, what changes you've seen, good or bad, I would love our audience to hear what has changed in your mind.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I think it's important for someone in my position to be paying attention to are those changes. So like looking at the annual statistics and seeing that, say, something like DVDs that were really popular, I don't want to, 10 or 15 years ago, I'm not sure now, but they were big business for many years, and then it slowly declined as streaming services have taken over. So we do want to be responsive to that and make sure that we're spending the the municipal funds that that are budgeted to us responsibly. So we're not spending them just on like, well, we always spend X amount. Yeah. But like one of the things, as I've kind of touched on, that hasn't changed is that people still want physical books. People are still, and especially, so 2/3 of the books that circulated last year were children's books. So it's particularly families coming in and they're taking that big pile of books to support the literacy. Yeah, so
that's good. So they're reading to their children. That's wonderful.
And then the kids are, and then when they're old enough, the kids are reading. So that's something that we want to make sure that we're supporting, so that we have we're not just buying the newest, flashiest books out, but we're making sure that we're replacing books that have gotten worn out, or, you know, kids can be a little rough on books, so we want to make sure
they're well loved.
They're well loved. That's an excellent way of phrasing it.
Well, that's interesting, because I know there's been an increase in Kindle reading.
So that has also changed in the past. Yeah, I would say within like 10 to 15 years, and the funding so the amount that we spend on those ebooks and e-audio is much higher than the average user is spending, like from the Amazon store or bookshop.org or wherever you might be purchasing your e-content.
Coming to your library system.
So for the library to purchase books is more expensive than for the yes, I didn't phrase that. Very coherent. So the library, we have a markup, the publishers and the ebook vendors. So there is current legislation to make sure that that doesn't happen. I think part of that is when it started, libraries were just kind of, you know, trying out. They were like, well, we'll try it out, and they weren't thinking long term, this is going to be difficult to afford. And so we didn't really pool our resources to go to the publishers and say, we do have significant buying power, but you need to cut us a break.
I mean, the stereotype of the library and the librarian used to be, shh, no talking, no eating. She had a bun, a pencil in her ear.
Well, I didn't wear it in a bun today.
So you are more modern.
Well, I do have the glasses.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
And I can see that you could walk around and say, shh, no talking in the library. I'm sure it's changed since then, because I walk in and I see tables to the left as I walk in. I sometimes see people tutoring children. And I see groups of people doing projects, so there is some noise in the library. That's changed.
Yeah, for sure.
And you are appreciative of that change?
Absolutely.
Or would you like to put your glasses and bun back on?
And shush? No. By the time I was getting into libraries, that change was already kind of in motion. And part of that is because, you know, a lot of libraries, and Medfield included, have a beautiful building, but we don't want it to become just a repository of books, you know? And how people live has changed. So what they need from what's called a third space, you have home and you have work, and then there's a third space. So what you need from a third space has changed in the centuries that libraries have been around.
Well, that's so fascinating that you really, it's like a science. When we talk about library science, there really is a science. It really is a science. Yes, that's so good to know.
My 5 letters mean something.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I'm so glad, not just empty letters. And you've got a song written about you, Marion the Librarian.
Yes.
And I think sometimes those shows establish in people's minds what a library should be, but clearly this is not your library.
No.
No.
And I don't think it's
City.
I'm very familiar with that. I don't know if the whole audience will get the reference, but I know that.
I'm the Music Man, River City. It's going to be trouble.
Yep.
Capital T, and it rhymes with P, and it stands for pool. But Marion the Librarian,
yes.
There's a song about you, and of course it reminds us of the bun and everything else that goes with it. What other changes have you seen from the time you came on board, or when you first understood what libraries were in terms of functioning, to today?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that is important to me is that we're not making changes willy-nilly, so that when we are making bigger changes, we're doing them really thoughtfully. So if it's a smaller change that isn't going to be necessarily disruptive, we'll just try it out. But if it's a bigger change, we want to make sure that we have a plan, and we've looked at like any statistics we have to support that, or surveys we've had. I've done a 2 strategic plans, so that's always really helpful for gathering data.
Yes.
And that was when I did the survey for the last strategic plan. I didn't ask whether people wanted, whether people were using the library to check out books, because I have the data for that, and I had a lot of people write in.
Oh.
I like the library for the books. Don't get rid of the books. So I just want to assure everybody we're not getting rid of the books.
Well,
I understand that they're important, but I had data on that already, so I didn't need to gather that.
The next question I wanted to ask, I think, is mostly fueled by the times we live in, but maybe not. Maybe this has always been a challenge, and that is the concept of banning books.
Yeah.
There have been certainly some challenges in terms of the request to ban books. I certainly had it when I was a superintendent, and what you do about it is challenging. Have you experienced the request for banning books, and what do you do?
So no, the public library in Medfield hasn't had a formal request for reconsideration since I've been in Medfield, which has been almost 11 years. So we haven't had any formal request for consideration. We had reconsideration. We have had a couple of, well, I don't know why you have this, but that happens for all kinds of things. We had somebody say, why did you buy this book? The font's too small.
Okay, would you say get glasses?
We said large print.
Very good.
Can we get that for you in large print? Yeah. So, but I think like this is one of the things about living in a community and running a community space is that we do want, running with the support of the trustees, we do want everybody to feel welcome.
That's wonderful. But
not everybody is going to like every single item that we have in the library. There's a lot of books that I would never want to check out, you know, and that doesn't mean that we shouldn't own them. And if people in the community want them, we have a pretty rigorous standard for how we pick out books based on, a lot of it's based on popularity. So we either we're either seeing a Medfield resident have a hold on it, or we're seeing other holds within the Minuteman system that indicate to us that maybe if a Medfield resident doesn't have it on hold, they might someday, or it's to make sure that we are covering the full breadth of information that is needed for a public library.
Because we're certainly seeing on TV sometimes Judy Blume speaking about her books being banned for whatever reasons. You know, I can't comment whether the Judy Blume books are wonderful or not, but I think you've made the point, even if you don't care for the book, somebody else may.
Yeah. And
so who am I to say, I have the information in my mind that tells you what you can and cannot read.
Yeah. And I appreciate that at least the Medfield residents who were upset about, there was a book challenge in the public schools, and I appreciate that they understand that the public library is a different venue, and that we're not what's the phrase in education, in loco parentis? We're not in lieu of the parents.
Yes.
I didn't take Latin.
So, but if you, let's say there's a young child who seeks to take out a book that you know has some information that might not be appropriate for that age, or the subject matters, how do you say something, and the child comes in without the parent, let's say?
Well, the child, so unaccompanied children under 8 and under are not allowed to be in the library without somebody. I think it's over the age of 16.
Okay. So you've solved that problem.
So we've solved that problem.
But after 8.
But that's one of the differences between, you know, the public library and the school libraries. But after 8. Or 9 and up, it would be up to the parent. If the parent has, you know, all parents have to sign off on library cards. Parents or guardian, you have to have a signature. So you don't have to get your child a library card. If you would like to, if a parent or guardian wants to like monitor what their child is taking out, we fully respect and appreciate that decision. and that child wouldn't have their own library card. So that parent could, pay attention to what their child's checking out.
Yeah. And I'm sure the children's librarian and everybody else would be gently guiding someone to the right books.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that happens not for political reasons, but yes, if a small child is checking out like a book that is above their reading level, we would say you could give it a shot, but you might like this one better.
Very positively put. Very positively put. I appreciate that very much. So, the biggest challenges that you find as a director of a library in a town like Medfield, what would those challenges be for today, the future?
I think just adapting to the times, making sure that we remain receptive and not just getting in to our ideas as staff and as trustees, at being like, we know what's definitively right here. We need to make sure that we're listening to the community and responding to the community. If we've decided we need a bunch of history programs and no one shows up to a history program, we can't just keep saying more history programs. Actually, the history programs that we've done with the COA and the Medfield Historical Society are very popular. That was a terrible example. But if we were to come up with, some kind of course or something that nobody wanted to come to, but just decide that that's what we want to do. So I think having that kind of flexibility and adaptability and the ability to pivot as the world changes and as the Medfield community's needs change, that we can be receptive to that and respond to it.
And I love the fact that you mentioned listening to the community, because that seems to be not just in this community, but in most communities, something that people say, they're not listening. And it seems as if you are listening.
We do try and have, like, our any staff that's at a desk will have a conversation with anybody who comes in, as long as they have the time to do it. So that has been really helpful for it's kind of an ear to the ground of what people are looking for and what people are missing from the library or the community that we might be able to serve.
Now, you talked about a board of trustees. We haven't touched on them. Can you explain what their function is for our audience?
Absolutely. So the board of trustees is an elected board of 6 Medfield residents, and they are the library's governing board. So much like the school committee,
yes,
which you might know a little something about.
Just a wee bit.
So that's the board that I report to directly, and they make all of the policy decisions, all of the decisions about the hours, and how the big picture library stuff.
Which is basically a similar situation to a school committee.
It's
with you as their
principal or superintendent.
Employee. Yeah, and superintendent.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, but in a much smaller scope for...
but not less powerful and not less important. I mean,
I would agree, yeah.
All of the institutions in a town that make it run are extremely important, no matter how they're set up or organized. But even in a small town like Medfield, we've got library, we've got Board of Select people, we've got schools, we've got DPW, we've got many, I don't want to leave anybody out, but we've got so many things that make a town run, whether it's big or small.
Yeah.
So you do play a very important role in having the library run.
Parks and Rec Commission.
Oh.
I was trying to think of what's another elected board, yeah. But yeah, absolutely.
A little bit about that then. What did you just mentioned? The commission? What did
the Parks and Rec Commission.
Oh,
they're
that's why I missed
they're
that.
another
Parks
governing board. Yeah,
yes,
I didn't want to leave them out.
No, I don't. And if I've left anybody out, any board out, I apologize here and now. So I think you've talked about programs and resources available. I don't want to miss anything. Is there anything else you would want to share with our audience to tell them how wonderful our library is and the staff is? And I want to thank all of the staff in your library and the volunteers and the
Yes.
board, and of course you as the director. Because if you are a visionary, everyone else will function with that forward thinking, and I appreciate that very much.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have staff development for your librarians and for
Yes, we don't have a formal staff development day currently, but we make sure that yes, we do have a fund for that, and we try and do as much as possible.
anything else that you want to share about the
Yeah,
library?
I mean,
Please.
there's so many. I would just I think people don't think of. I think people do think of a lot of like the kids programs, like the story times that we have. They might not necessarily know that we have Jedi training, but we also
I guess I didn't know
we
that.
have kids programs for like all kinds of interests, and we're also always willing to add more. So if you see something that you think the library could do and want to reach out to us, we're very receptive. And if we can, we will try it. But we also have a lot of teen programs. We've been doing a lot of like craft and art classes this past spring and into the summer. And we have a lot of adult programs. We have a bunch of different book clubs, and we have the talks. We have author talks coming in. We have a lot of craft programs, and that's another thing that if anybody would like us to try something, we're like, just let us know, and we will do what we can to make that happen.
Now, you've mentioned a lot of wonderful things that maybe some people don't even know about, but how would you join a book club at the library?
Yes.
How would you join a program that you're offering in the evening or in the afternoon?
Yes, so the library website is medfieldpubliclibrary.org, and we have an events calendar on there. So everything, and then all of the information, if registration is required, it will be on the events calendar, and there'll be further information about how to get.
So if I
more
wanted to join a
information.
book talk, you don't have to have started off in the very beginning. You
No,
can join anytime.
absolutely not. No, but our book clubs are always open to new members.
And finally, how can we as the public support the library and your efforts and all of the efforts of your staff? What would you like us to do to make sure you thrive and function well?
Yeah, I mean, coming in to use the library, if you're interested, if you haven't been in a while, we're a very friendly bunch, and we're always happy to see people. And then supporting the Friends of the Library. All of the programs that I just listed are financially supported by the Friends of the Library. So they'll be doing their annual drive in the fall. So anybody is welcome to join the Friends by donating. And they're going to be celebrating their 60th anniversary this fall. Yeah, the Friends of the Library have been around for
wonderful.
60 great years.
That's fabulous.
Isn't it? And then we also have a bookstore in the library that's open anytime that the library is open. So all of those funds go directly to the Friends, which go to support.
Bookstore is open not just at certain times?
Not just at certain times. It's on the first floor of the library, and it's very reasonably priced.
Very wonderful.
Yeah.
And are you celebrating the 250th anniversary of
300?
Revolutionary War?
Oh, of the Revolutionary
Are you
War?
doing anything with that?
Oh, I'm not sure that we are. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we can come to Boston and walk on the Freedom Trail.
There
and
you
learn about
go.
that. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come and sit with me and chat, and also to share what you do and what everyone else who works with you does for the library. And I thank you for your time. I want to thank Pam Gardner and all of the people at Medfield TV for making Medfield Musings possible. I'm Rosalie Weiss, and I hope you'll enjoy this program. Thank you very much.